Hello everyone, and this week is Frostblood by Ellie Blake, released on January 10th, 2017, and it has 371 pages. This would be considered a fantasy genre. I found this in the, what section in Indigo? Close to the young reader section. So, and based on the content, I would say it's probably like maybe young teen age group. Anyway, what is Frostblood? So the main characters are Ruby, and then later, not too much later into the book, Arcus gets introduced. Ruby is a Fireblood, which means her blood is not literally made of fire. However, she has the gift to control heat and flame, etc. And in the beginning of the book, she's not really adept at doing so. She's aware of her gift. She had very, very little training into manipulating the heat and flame. And kind of one of the big hurdles for her in this book is learning to master that gift. But the problem with that is that many of her kind, Firebloods, have been wiped out or in hiding and whatever because the land that she is in is ruled by Frostbloods. Now, Frostbloods are, in this book, I guess, the equivalent of, like, you know, the evil empire and blah, blah, blah. And what they can do is the opposite of Fireblood. They can control cold and frost and manipulate ice, etc. And Arcus happens to be a Frostblood. Now, not to get too into the nitty-gritty, there is a group of resistors within the Frostblood kingdom that does not like what the king of Frostbloods is doing because he's being like the typical tyrant, being very violent, brash, enslaving people, just making like decisions like emotionless, etc. So they want to overthrow him. The gist of it is that the throne is actually corrupting him. And I'm not going to spoil any more than that. So why did I like this book? First of all, to start, this book is kind of like, I read it open-minded. It's for a younger audience than myself, so I didn't really like expect it to be like this, I don't know, like I didn't expect it to be Game of Thrones, for example, right? That does not mean it's bad. I found it entertaining because personally, and I guess this is biased, it reminded me of an animated series I used to watch called Avatar: The Last Airbender. In that series, there were people that were called benders that can control different things: water, fire, earth, and air. Now this one, they've only shown fire and ice, okay? And I don't know, I like that. I like the whole, like, the way reading it, kind of like what she's experiencing, and like this, like her personality matches the fact that she is a Fireblood. I felt that was all well done. Like, she's very emotional, very she's not like, the opposite would be a Frostblood, which would be like kind of like cold, calculated, logical, controlling their emotions, whereas Ruby is the opposite. Also, she's had no training, so on top of that, and she's had a very, quite a few hurdles and traumas and things along the way. So she's very emotional, and she finds it hard to control her emotions. And when her emotions get out of hand, she produces like an extreme heat, like causing fires and things like that. So I like that kind of like parallel between her and her powers, and how her powers reflect what she's going through. Now, what makes it interesting is then there's this like love story with Arcus, because this is somewhat of a romance too, I guess. There's this, fire and ice, right? He's ice, she's fire, and there's like this tension between them which grows into, an affection and a love, etc. But, seeing this build up, like, she hates Frostbloods because what they did to her people, and he hates Firebloods because they're perceived as like dangerous and irrational and other reasons that I don't want to spoil. So like there's this kind of like tension between their cultures or their races almost. They're both human, but and then seeing this build because he has to train her at some points too. And you know, it's all typical and whatnot, but you know, at the end of the day, seeing this dynamic flourish into this strong bond where their differences actually create this strength for one another. Very cliche, ultimately. I mean, having, you know, if you read enough, it's like you kind of see the same things over and over again. But I liked Ellie Blake's take on the things. Also, I read on after the fact that she's from Ontario, which is where I'm from in Canada. I don't know if she was born here, but she says she lives here. Cool. So I'm trying to like represent people from, you know, my province, I guess. So good for her for taking that leap, writing this book. And you know, this is a series, so this is the first installment. So check it out. I'm gonna read the next one, Fireblood, eventually. I'm just kind of in the middle of other books, but yeah. That's enough rambling. That was Frostblood, Fire and Ice, overthrowing the fantasy kingdom. You know, all that good stuff. Check it out. Good read. Well written. And anyways, that's all I gotta say about that book. If you have any other kind of books like this, I like magic and, you know, manipulating the elements and things like that. So I look forward to those recommendations too. I don't know what to search, like elemental magic book. Like, yeah. Anyway, that's all I got to say on that. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.